Right now at 5, a Labette County deputy is hailed as a hero after saving a woman's life in Parsons. Plus, the Ozark Center's chief administrative officer is being appointed to a state position, and the Alliance of Southwest Missouri gets an award from the Veterans United Foundation.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
A Southeast Kansas deputy saves a woman's life after she is struck by a train. This is KOAM News at 5. A Labette County deputy working close by heard the call of a pedestrian hit by a train. The call disconnected before getting a location, but Deputy Gabe Vitt was just a few blocks away from that crossing. Vitt arrived on scene quickly and applied a makeshift tourniquet to the woman's injured leg until medical officials arrived. Kansas officials continue working to speed up the distribution of aid money to help people avoid eviction. Kansas Housing Resources Corporation says more than 40% of the $169 million allocated to the state program has been given out so far. Roughly 32,000 Kansans have received help, and Kansas isn't in danger of having the federal government reclaim some of the money because the state had distributed at least 30% of the aid by the November deadline. Southwest Missouri children affected by autism now have a local person in their corner at the state level. Ozark Center Chief Administrative Officer Vicki Meisler is now serving on the Missouri Commission on Autism Spectrum Disorders. This Autism Commission is charged with reviewing existing resources, initiatives, and funding, identifying unmet needs or gaps in service or service areas, and creating tangible recommendations for system improvements, including policy, programmatic, legislative, and funding recommendations.
We know just here locally in Southwest Missouri that there's a tremendous need. There are long waiting lists for children to get into treatment, and that certainly means we have work to do.
Meisler is a nationally certified and licensed psychologist with over 30 years of experience in behavioral health. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri receives funding to expand their Joplin location. Veterans United Foundation donated $52,000 for their 1601 at the Core of the Community Capital campaign. The campaign began in 2019 to renovate and remodel the historic building that houses the Alliance. The nonprofit organization completed Phase 1 with more office space for administration and other programs. This donation will go toward Phase 3 of the project.
It's going to go towards the inside of our building. Phase 3 will cover the basement, which will help us establish childcare rooms, meeting halls, a commercial kitchen, office spaces, administrative work offices as well that we can lease out to other people who work in the nonprofit sector.
The Alliance is now raising funds for Phase 3. VUF was created through Veterans United Home Loans, with employees donating 1% of their salary. It was much warmer today than it has been, much sunnier. Nick Kelly joins us.
And the view from 7th and Radish Line gives us a clear reason why, Chris. Plenty of sunshine throughout the course of the day. And of course, even though the sun is setting, we're still going to hold on to mainly mostly clear skies as the evening gets underway. Weekend have kept things quiet throughout the course of the day, but in our very far southern counties, an upper level wave is trying to bring some cloud cover for areas south of Table Rock Lake. But other than that, I can even point this out for everybody at home. There is a quick cold front trying to nudge in. That is going to bring a cold night ahead of us, but it is not going to do much to stop things from warming up as we go throughout the rest of the week. As far as where we sit right now, mainly lower to middle 40s across much of the region, and you can see how the front is trying to shift the breeze out of the northwest as it tries to push on through. But still, the breeze is pretty light, between 5 and 10 miles per hour. We're pretty much going to drop back near the 40s by 6 o'clock, 30s for the rest of the evening. I'm thinking most of us in the mid to upper 20s. Later on tonight, we'll break down the rest of the forecast, including a mild Christmas holiday. That's coming up in a bit, Chris.
All right, Nick, thank you. Well, still ahead on the KOAM News at 5, the Omicron variant of COVID-19 has now been detected in all but 5 states. Plus, more and more vaccinated people are experiencing breakthrough COVID cases. We'll hear from health officials. Topping today's Health Watch, top health experts say the country is facing an incoming tidal wave of COVID cases. The fast-spreading Omicron variant has now been detected in all but 5 states. Nationwide, average new COVID numbers have nearly doubled since the beginning of November, with an average of 156,000 cases a day. From Minnesota to Florida, California to New York, lines for testing are long and home test kits hard to find.
We are going to see a spike in cases, and that's because Omicron is incredibly transmissible. But there will be a stark difference between the experience of those who are vaccinated and boosted versus those who are unvaccinated.
President Biden is expected to address the country tomorrow. With the U.S. now averaging more than 150,000 new COVID cases a day, we're hearing more and more about breakthrough cases. Naomi Ruckham spoke with a top infectious disease expert and has this report from New York.
Democratic Senators Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts and Cory Booker of New Jersey both tested positive for COVID-19 this weekend, despite receiving 2 doses of the vaccine and the booster. Both said their symptoms have been mild so far. And with the highly transmissible Omicron variant spreading, health experts expect more breakthrough cases in the coming weeks.
No vaccine is perfect, and especially against a foe like Omicron, but those infections are much more likely to be mild compared to maybe somebody who is not boosted or not vaccinated, who may have a greater chance of ending up in the hospital.
Health experts are also seeing many breakthrough cases among unboosted people. That includes CBS Money Watch reporter Diane King Hall.
It felt like there were knives in my throat.
Were you surprised given you're vaccinated?
Yes, very surprised. I still think I shouldn't have been surprised, but I was surprised because I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm vaccinated.
More and more of us are thinking of the vaccination series as a 3-dose series.
Dr. William Schaffner of Vanderbilt University Medical Center says vaccinated people who get infected don't need to wait too long to get their 3rd dose.
You can get your booster anytime after you have recovered, your symptoms have abated.
And health experts say vaccinated people who get infected still need to isolate to prevent the virus from spreading. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News, New York.
And Dr. Schaffner adds people with underlying conditions such as heart disease and diabetes should be especially careful right now, regardless of vaccination status, and try to avoid crowds as much as possible. A new study from Germany finds children were responsible for most COVID outbreaks in schools and preschools, but the outbreaks were more severe when an adult was the first identified case. Researchers say wearing a mask significantly lowered secondary cases. With COVID surging again across much of the country, some hospitals and clinics are using creative tactics to encourage child vaccinations. For many kids, the prospect of rolling up a sleeve for a shot comes with a heavy dose of anxiety. But at Rady Children's Hospital in San Diego, the vaccination clinic is bringing in the big dogs. That's where Lucy, a golden doodle, and Tank, a golden retriever, roam the halls. They're ready to take on the tears and fears.
The dogs help the kids relax. They help them feel like they're not at a hospital. I had one little boy tell me today, this is the best day ever. I skipped school and I got to meet Tank and Lucy.
Tank and his owner, Dr. Susie Duthie, both work in the hospital. When she's not volunteering with her pup, Dr. Duthie is a critical care physician in the pediatric ICU. Researchers in Canada looked into why cannabis use seems to be increasing among pregnant women. They found women are using it to manage pregnancy-related symptoms and pre-existing conditions such as nausea and vomiting and insomnia. That's a look at today's health news. Later on the KOAM News at 5, a technological and bureaucratic conflict could force airlines to cancel many flights in the new year.
Plus, we're set for another cold night ahead of us, but quite a warm-up for the week ahead, especially by Christmas Eve. We'll break down the numbers next. Well, better late than never, even though we finally got the sunshine back. It took a couple days for us to get out of the 30s for highs, because that's pretty much where we spend our Saturday and Sunday. So a good portion of the weekend, rather cold for December, but we certainly improved on those numbers again once we had that plentiful sunshine back in action today. But not before we dropped back into the mid-20s this morning, around 26 at last check of Joplin Regional. We'll check the official numbers come 9 o'clock to see how cold it was officially to start the morning out. But so far, a good jump. We actually went from 28 at 9 a.m. to the mid-40s by 11, and so far our high today was 50 at Joplin Regional for this Monday, December 20th. I'm seeing us saying chilly and dry Tuesday all the way through Thursday, and we're going to say Mele Kalikimaka instead of a cold Christmas day around here, because we're looking mild for Christmas Eve. Not quite record-breaking, but close. and a little bit of a chill for Christmas Day, but still above normal. But sticking with Doug's pattern, I'm going to watch the storm system by early next week. It could start as maybe a few showers Monday, but by the middle of next week, that with enough cold air, that could be a potential wintry system for us to keep an eye on. But no threatening weather whatsoever for 7th and Range Line. That's a mostly clear sky, 44 already in Joplin, so already starting to drop off, even though the sun hasn't completely set yet. A southwest wind at 8, making it feel like 40 degrees outside with the humidity checking in at 60%. We have a bit of a range in temperatures. We got lower 40s south of I-44, mid 40s around the Joplin area. And then some spots still trying to hold under 50, especially in southeastern parts of Kansas. And we're trying to see how fast these numbers can drop, not just because of the setting sun, but you can kind of make out a cold front trying to work into the region. We got a southerly wind in our southern counties and a northerly wind on the other half of the viewing area. But in general, this front is going to mean another cold night ahead of us, but not a lot of cloud cover to speak with it. 37 by 8 o'clock, 30 by midnight. I think for most of us will be in the mid to upper 20s, but can't rule out some lower 20s in our northwestern communities as we go into our Tuesday morning. I don't see a lot of action in our immediate area. We are picking up quite a bit of rain, though, in central and southern Arkansas and southeastern Oklahoma. Not because of anything at the surface. Again, we just have this cold front that we're watching to see how far south it goes. It'll certainly keep us cold for tonight. But this is the main culprit for the rain to the south, this upper low passing to the south. But other than that, this upper ridge out in the desert southwest, that's going to start to play a big role in the forecast going forward. In the short term, though, mostly clear skies will be the rule of thumb as we go throughout the course of the evening. Maybe a few clouds trying to build in by the time we head towards sunrise, but doesn't change the fact that everyone starts cold, around 27 degrees in the morning. Plentiful sunshine again to start the morning out. Then I think partly sunny skies will try to work in during the afternoon. We'll go 46 by noon and pushing afternoon highs near 51 degrees with that southwest and westerly breeze during the afternoon staying light at 5 to 10. Here's the jet stream building back in. This keeps us in the 50s and dry for Wednesday and Thursday despite quite a bit of cloud cover. Here's Christmas Eve. The jets to the north, a main storm system to the north. This actually sets us up for a mild start to the Christmas weekend. In fact, we'll have highs near 70 degrees for Christmas Eve. Again, the record high is 73, set back in 55. So I think we'll come close to it, but doesn't change the fact it's going to be a mild Christmas Eve around here before we drop to 57 on Saturday, 66 Sunday, and then we got our next storm system sticking with Doug's pattern that we'll have to keep an eye on for Monday. But in the short term, Chris, there's going to be a big jump from the lower 50s tomorrow to the upper 50s on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly going to warm up rapidly around here, and I mean, that's just been the trend the last few weeks. So
I know, and this year, like I said before, it looks like we'll say Mele Kalikimaka come Christmas Eve.
See, I'm glad you can say that because I can't, and I've tried, and it doesn't sound very good. I'm probably insulting the Hawaiians when I try, so Nick, thank you so much. Well, coming up, attention Christmas shoppers. You may have done your shopping, but if you haven't done your shipping, you're running out of time. But first, we're going to take time now to honor one of our many four-state heroes. Corporal Brooks Nunn served in the Army during Korea, his hometown, Seneca. We're proud to recognize Corporal Brooks Nunn, tonight's four-state hero. Christmas gift givers, listen up. The time to send presents and well wishes to loved ones is now, like today. While some shipping deadlines have passed, there's still a few options. For shipping UPS, you have a December 21st deadline for the 3-day select service with shipping in the United States. And if you're shipping via FedEx Express, you can buy yourself some more time with deadlines starting December 24th and ending starting December 21st and ending on the 24th for same-day delivery. So unless you want to shell out the big bucks for overnight or rush delivery, you better get on it. Well, the world's first ever text message goes on the auction block. That's right. Britain's telecommunications company Vodafone will auction the message sent by SMS as an NFT or non-fungible token. It's defined as a unique digital certificate used to record ownership of an asset. The message reading "Merry Christmas" was sent from a handset on December 3rd, 1992 to Vodafone's director at the time. The online auction at Aguette's Auction House in France will take place on Tuesday, and it's expected to fetch big bucks. The buyer will receive the replica of the original communication protocol that transmitted the SMS. Proceeds will then go to the UN Refugee Agency. Ford's electric pickup isn't even heading to dealers yet, and it's already sold out of all available reservations. Ford is closing reservations for its F-150 Lightning electric pickup. It has filled all 200,000 slots. It received more than 40,000 orders for the trucks in the first 2 days. It started accepting reservations back in May. Ford is now building prototypes of the F-150, and production of models for dealers is expected to begin early next year. With those with orders could start receiving the trucks in the spring. The truck is expected to start around $40,000 with a 230-mile cruising range. Well, it's going to be a busy week at the nation's airport as Christmas comes during rising cases of COVID, but the pandemic isn't the only big concern for airlines. A technological and bureaucratic conflict could force them to cancel many flights in the new year. Chris Van Cleve reports.
A standoff between two federal agencies could have flight-halting consequences for airlines caught in the middle. Starting January 5th, U.S. airlines may have to stop using equipment that helps pilots land in bad weather or low visibility at more than 40 of the nation's busiest airports, following an FAA order prompted by concerns about possible interference from newly activated 5G cell phone towers.
5G is now the biggest issue facing the airline, which is remarkable to say in a world where we're still in COVID.
United CEO Scott Kirby says airlines have no choice but to adhere to the FAA order.
If we go back to decades-old procedures and technology for flying airplanes, cancel thousands of flights per day and hundreds of thousands of customers, it will be a catastrophic failure of government.
The wireless industry insists there is not a safety issue, arguing the aviation industry's fear-mongering relies on completely discredited information and deliberate distortions of fact. AT&T and Verizon are pledging to reduce signal strength on cell towers near airports.
We have 39 countries where you have this deployment. There have been no issues.
Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn believes expanded 5G service is essential.
What we are looking at is a late onto the table objection by the FAA.
The FCC says it is optimistic that a solution can be worked out. The wireless industry has spent about $80 billion buying the bandwidth for 5G and opposes any further delays. But the airlines say without a solution, those flights will have to be delayed and canceled. It could impact an estimated 32 million flyers over the course of next year. Chris Van Cleve, CBS News, Washington.
The FCC tells CBS News it remains optimistic the remaining issues will be solved. We got a final check of the forecast right after this. The CBS Evening News is up next. Then on KOAM News at 6, the Southeast Kansas drive-by shooting suspect takes a plea deal. Plus, a Parsons man is arrested on accusations that he sexually assaulted someone. And the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas is teaming up with the Pittsburgh Public Library to improve COVID-19 testing in the region. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. A 5-year-old girl who's been a Children's Miracle Network kid since birth has given back to the organization in a big way. Nora Beechner, with help from her family, managed to raise $400 through the sale of walnuts from the family farm. She gave that money back to CMN. However, her story inspired others in the community to match that donation, bringing in more than $20,000. We'll hear more from Nora's mom tonight at 6. And talk about, going far. You're that young. $400 is a lot of money when you're that age.
Yeah, but having to go that high?
And yeah, and then finding out that the community steps in and brings it up to $20,000+. I mean, that's just impressive.
It is amazing.
And something else that's relatively amazing, although disappointing for those looking forward to a white Christmas, is these temperatures that you've got.
Can you say it yet?
But Meli
Kaliki Maka. We got to say that this year based on how the temperatures are stacking up. At least in the short term, we'll go into the 20s tonight, back to 51 tomorrow. Mid-50s Wednesday, upper 50s, there we go, Thursday, pushing near 70 for Christmas Eve. Then we're going to chill back down a bit, but still above normal for Christmas Day. But we'll keep things dry with highs around 57.
Not bad overall, not bad. Just wish we had a white Christmas, but if we're not going to get one, might as well be one.
There is a system early next week. That could give us something.
All right, we're looking forward to that. Nick, thank you so much. CBS Evening News is next. We'll see you back here at 6. Thanks for making us part of your night.